Alright class, welcome back to Knica 98. Today we are going to cover the last module, which is has a little bit less content, but there is a few more assessments on here. And we're going to get into some of the content that I do want you to review. And then you're going to be taking a few case study assessments. And actually they're developed more as a discussion board. So I want you to do those discussion boards, case studies, first, and then look through the rest of this this portion of the lecture. So, and that's going to come at the very end, because that's where I go over the case studies and I give you essentially the answers to those questions. But I want to see what your responses are before you get to the end of this video. So first, let me switch over here, and here is your canvas, and I just want to go into a few things on here. So one of the first things that you're going to see or the first pages on this module are the healthy roster login instructions and uploading documents instructions. So I embedded two different videos. The first one walks you through how to log in for the first time on Healthy Roster. Now, what you should know is that there's not going to be a way for you to log in if I haven't created an account for you. So there's no way that you can go and download the app and create an account. You would have to first have received an email from Healthy Roster, and I think it shows that it's sent indirectly by me. So that probably won't happen until I've received all of your personal information. So it may get done after this course is done, in the several weeks after this course is done. If not, it'll happen over the summer, once you start meeting with your teams, and we want you to start getting your physicals and all that. So just kind of a heads up on that if you don't get that email right away, not to worry. As long as you end up registering for the summer conditioning classes with your respective teams, or in the fall you start registering, then you'll be receiving more information about logging into Healthy Roster. The second video here is the uploading documents tutorial, and on there, that's for people that already have an account and you're ready to upload all of your documents. And one caveat about this part is that if you've already completed all the documents that I provided for you, it was an assignment on here, make sure you hold on to them, and you'll be able to use them for this step. And let's say for whatever reason you can't locate them, well, there's a way for you to complete those documents directly on Healthy Roster without having to download each document and filling it out. You can even do it from your mobile device. The only exceptions are your medical insurance card, your proof of vaccination, COVID vaccination, and the physical examination form. Those three will have to be uploaded to the Healthy Roster app or on your desktop version. Speaking of the physical examination, I highly recommend that you start making an appointment, and I'm going to cover this when we meet on Zoom as well, but make sure that you start setting up appointments with your primary care physician to get a physical, because the earlier you do that, the easier it's going to be to get an appointment. And make sure that you use that form that was provided to you, that they fill that out, and that it gets signed, dated, that it has their license number, the clinic office, the clinic address, so that way we can verify, if needed, the authenticity of the document. Alright, moving on to our case studies. So here's the first one. And again, I'd like for you to do this before watching this video or this portion of the recording, and respond to the discussion board with your answers. And then that way you guys can compare your answers and see how well you did. And once you've done that, then go ahead and watch this, and you can see the answers that we discussed. So, first case study is a baseball player who is a baseball qualifier out of high school, completed 2 years at a community college with 4 full semesters, and is transferring to a D1 school. The school only accepts 4 activity units. He's earned 56 units with a 2.5 GPA, and he completed 8 PE or activity units with an A grade, and he did not receive his AA degree. So the questions are, what happens to the extra activity units and grade points that don't transfer? So let's get into that first one. Alright, so here is our answer. So of the 56 units, 8 of those were from athletics, and so remember that college only accepts 4. So the first thing you got to do is figure out how many total grade points he had. So you multiply 56 by 2.5, because 2.5 or 2.5 was his GPA, and you get 140 points. But we're subtracting 16 grade points because we have to remove 4 of those activity units, which aren't going to transfer. So that leaves you with 140 grade points, and 140 points, and then you have to subtract 16 grade points from that, which leaves you with 124 grade points. Now we're going to divide that by 52 because that's how many units he's going to transfer, not 56, because we have to remove those 4. And that equals 2.38 transfer GPA. So meaning he cannot transfer, or at least say he's not D1 eligible. So that question 2, it says, is Christopher D1 eligible? Why or why not? So he is not eligible because he needs a minimum of a 2.5 GPA. So we did all these calculations to get a true GPA because he had 4 extra activity units that we had to separate and then calculate the true GPA. So it was under 2.5. And then it asks, is Christopher D2 eligible? Why or why not? So yes, he is, because for D2 schools you only need a 2.2 GPA. Alright, moving on to our second case study. We have a soccer player who's a qualifier out of high school. She plays 1 season at a community college. So she didn't go straight to a 4-year institution. She went to her local community college, and she's offered an athletic scholarship at a D1 school after the first season. She was a full-time student for both the fall and spring terms, and then she earned 24 total units with a 2.75 GPA, completed 3 activity units for playing soccer with an A grade. So knowing all of that, after 1 academic year, how many units can Sandra transfer to the D1 school? So let's see what that looks like. Okay, so the rule is that the 23 of the first 24 units must come from academic courses, and after the first year. And then after 2 years, 46 of the first 48 units have to come from academic courses, not from athletics or activity courses. So Sandra, in this case, can only transfer 22 units. And let me show you where you can find that. So in Module 2, if you go to this NCAA transfer page, you'll see here that as a qualifier out of high school, 46 of the first 48 units must be academic. And then you just divide that by 2. If it's only 1 year, it's got to be 23 of the first 24 units that are academic. And then, like it says, average 12 units for each full-time term. The next question asks, does Sandra have 12 transferable units for each full term? And she doesn't average 12 transferable units for every full-time term. And then the next question is, her GPA still 2.5 or higher? Yes, it's still over 2.5. Even with removing the extra activity unit that she had, her GPA is still over a 2.5, which is the minimum for D1 transfers. And then the next question is, can she accept a scholarship and transfer without summer school? Nope, she will have to take another academic course to fulfill that. And what advice can we give Sandra? Which it's an easy piece of advice, is she can take that academic class during the summer session and get at least a B grade, and then she'll be good to go. That will definitely, getting the B will make sure she stays over a 2.5, and then she'll have averaged 12 transferable units, and then giving her more than 23 units in that first year as well. All right, so that wraps up the case studies. Just want to remind you that there is a final quiz that is worth 8 points, and just make sure you knock that out. But you'll have all your resources in the rest of the modules here, so you can go back to any of these resources and use them as you're taking that final quiz. All right, so it was a pleasure having you in the class. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me. But I wish you the best and a successful career here at DVC.